away, but yeah. So it's a beautiful morning. It's the sun shining, as you can see, in the blue sky. It's slightly frosty, or has been. Yeah, very nice, very crisp. Beautiful English winter morning. Yeah, Banky. So I want to talk about, well, if you've ever been close up to a mouse, you see just how wide its eyes are, how big its eyes are, and it's on the lookout all the time. Look out for danger. And it needs to be because, it's got many predators. There are many dangers for a mouse. And, the slightest sound or the slightest movement, and it scurries away, trying to find refuge. Well, we can see the mind is similar. The mind can be likened to a scared mouse. It's always on the lookout. Do they like me? Am I acceptable? Am I lovable? Is something going to hurt me? I don't mean physically, okay? But the difference is, with the mouse, its dangers are real. It really will get eaten by a cat or a bird, yeah? But the dangers that the mind sees are created by mind. Now here I'm not talking about, the fear of walking across a busy road. That's natural fear, that's natural caution, yeah? Or walking down a dark alley and, there's a few sounds in here and whispers and it's absolutely appropriate to be cautious and a little afraid, and maybe you decide not to go down. I'm not talking about that. That's real fear. But what the mind does, it creates all these fears. I might not be loved. That's a story. It's just a belief. So the mind creates this danger, in inverted commas, and then worries about it. So it's all mind created, see? That's the problem we have. So there's no solution on that level. The problem of mind isn't resolved with more mind. Just let that pause you. The problem of mind isn't resolved by more mind. It's coming out of mind. But we're not being shown how to. Most of us live in the mind almost permanently. I say almost because we don't. Yeah, there are times when we're out of mind, but we don't really recognize it. So what the mind does, just like the mouse, it scurries for refuge, it scurries for certainty. And I must feel okay, yeah? I must be, yeah? And so it creates these scenarios, these little movies, then reacts to them, feels afraid when it sees them. It actually creates this image, this little movie, and then another thought comes, oh my God, oh no. And in a sense, we, so to speak, it's accurate enough, we are sort of in there somewhere, sort of, oh, what do I do with all this? And because we believe the thoughts are true, we suffer. That's the basis of psychological suffering. There are real fears, of course. Of course there are. We know that. You don't need to, oh, that's nice. That's real warmth. That's real warmth. Yeah. So he's just waiting for me. Yeah. So I hope that's clear enough anyway, that, look, it's all mind created. It's all mind. From about the age of 2 or 3, increasingly you become more mind dominated. I just did a video on this morning. on this theme of how we move from presence and being, pure being, the joy of being, the realm of bliss, intuition, into being mind dominated. And when we're mind dominated, whatever it says we believe. That is the cause of suffering, mental suffering. Nothing else. Nothing. And until you start to see this, it just goes on. So nothing, any tinkering with this doesn't work. Let's be frank with you, it doesn't work. But the resolution is simple. It's not complicated. You don't have to be a philosopher, you don't have to read philosophy, you don't have to be a deep thinker. You know, I'm not a deep thinker at all. Never have been. It's not about thinking. It's not about thinking. It's wonderful. It's wonderful when you see, oh, it's not about thinking then. No. It's the end of self-centered thinking. It's the end of psychological suffering. And don't get me wrong, I can still suffer psychologically, but not like I used to. It just wanes. It just begins to wane. You start to see the show. You start to see the game that's being played. You're being played. And if you hang around, if you practice or meditate in the way that's suggested, just maybe you'll start to see it. Oh. Suffer now. Be anxious now, okay? Picking up the ball for the boy. Be anxious now, really anxious without thinking or imagining in any way. Go on. It's impossible. You have to be thinking to feel anxious. Now you might say, well, sometimes there's a feeling of anxiety, of uncertainty. Yes, there can be a feeling, but we've labelled it anxiety. The mind's labelled it straight away. And also that might be a sense of real fear. If we just stay with the sensation, not go into the story, there might be something lurking around and intuitively we know it. Yeah. If we stop thinking about thinking, everything resolves itself. Okay, I'm going on a bit long. Nearly 8 minutes. Oh my God. Bye guys. Ta-ra.